Hi, this is a video, it's going to be pretty quick, on something called irrational numbers and estimating square roots. We know what rational numbers are, and this is just a quick reminder. A rational number is a number that can be written as a fraction whose numerator and denominators are integers. So we talked about that before. That was back in Unit 2 in the first quarter, where we can turn decimals into fractions. We can turn fractions into they're already fractions, but we can't turn all decimals into fractions. Like, if it doesn't start to repeat, we can't change it into a fraction. If it goes on forever, that's fine, but it has to repeat. If it doesn't repeat, if it doesn't start repeating and repeat forever, we can't do anything with that. So irrational numbers are numbers that cannot be written as a fraction using integers. So they can't be turned into a fraction because when they turn into a decimal, they never repeat. They do this whole crazy thing. Well, here we go. Because of square roots, and by the way, some vocabulary, we're going to use irrational, rational, estimating. Because of us learning about the square roots, this is something that we've got to know. A square root, if it happens a certain way, turns into an irrational number because it can't be turned into a fraction. There is no pretty way of looking at it. So, even though it's very pretty with my green and red and white paper, because it's holiday time, never mind. Square root of 5, flat out. Can we take square root of 5? Well, we can take square root of 4, and take square root of 9, but there's nothing in the middle of 4 and 9. So this is definitely irrational. Can't turn that into a fraction. Square root of 16, can we turn that into a fraction? Actually we can. What is the square root of 16? It equals 4, right? And we know 4 is a whole number and a natural number, and all whole numbers, we can turn them all into fractions, can't we? Like, we can change this into 4 over 1. So that is definitely a rational number. So that's rational. Literally, this is the section. Like, tell me what it is. Like, this is it. Square root of 18. The 18 is between 16 and it's between 25, but so it's not either of those, so it's definitely irrational. And then you might think, well, what about a decimal? Can't a decimal turn into, like, if I take 3 point something squared? I hate that bell. If I take like 3 point something squared, does that equal 18? No. If I square a decimal, it'll stay a decimal. If I square a fraction, it'll stay a fraction. And we'll talk, literally, if you're not paying attention, we will talk about that in a minute. So that's definitely irrational. I did say this briefly in one video, so if you're catching it, great. When I'm multiplying, I can square root two factors separately. I can do the same thing when I divide. This is equal to the square root of 16 divided by the square root of 25. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. That's a fraction. It's rational. So that's a little tricky. I didn't put this on my table. What is the square root of 0? 0, maybe? Yes, it is 0. And 0 is a whole number, so it's definitely rational. That's example number 1. Literally irrational, rational. That's it. Definitely go back to we did a lesson with that circles, and it was like, what is a rational number? And like, it was very pretty with the different circles and whatever. Go look at that, because these are all irrational. Kick them out. They're all irrational. Like this irrational versus rational, this becomes a big thing. People have died because of irrational numbers. That's going to be in one of the lessons coming up. I'm not joking. People have been killed. Math is crazy. Okay. Example number 2. This is a good question that shows up on a lot of tests. And also, it's just good to know. What two integers do the square roots simplify to? That is worded so wrong. Let me try that again. What two integers does the square root lie between? Put lie between. So I'm asking, basically what I'm asking is, we've got the square root. It is not rational. It is irrational. And they're going to ask you, what two numbers does it end up between? First off, yes, it is between 0 and 1 million. Funny. Ha, don't do that. They're asking, what are the two closest integers that this square root of 17 is near? Well, my first thing is this. What perfect squares is it between? Well, 16 is a perfect square. The square root of 16 is 4, so 16 is a great number to use. What's the next one up after 16? 25. Okay. That's step 1. Step 2 is, what's the square root of 16? 4. So the answer is not 16 and 25, by the way. The answer is 4 and 5. So that is the answer. A little tricky, take our time, but we'll be all right. So, and now I don't want to see that. That's not an exact answer. I want to see this. The square root of 17 is between 4 and 5. I am going to make you write a complete sentence for this, because just writing that doesn't mean anything to me. You got to give me a sentence. Square root of 17 is somewhere between 4 and 5. It doesn't have to be that exact sentence. Just give me a sentence that means that. Square root of 30. Hey, didn't we just use square root of 25? That's probably the smallest one below it. What's the next highest above it? 49, I believe. Right? Wrong. Square root of 49 is bigger, but what's next after 25? I'm not awake right now, apparently. It's 36. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 36 is 6. So again, the square root of 30 is between 5 and 6. That's all there is to this question. It's pretty brainless, right? Like, here we go, 78. That's really close to 81. What's right below 81? Well, that's 9 squared. 8 squared would be 64, right? So hey, look, there's 8, there's 9. So the square root of 78 is between 8 and 9. Like, that's all there is to these questions. It's not rocket science, because I'm terrified of rockets. 187 is between 196 and 169, right? Again, literally go back to your square root table and be like, oh, yep, there it is, he's right. Nope, he's wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in class, but I should be okay. Square root of 169 is 13. Square root of 196 is 14. So, square root of 187 is between 13 and 14. That's it for estimating, really. We're going to get a little more into it Like, hey, notice this is a little closer to 196. Don't you think it'd be bigger than 13.5? Like, we'll do a little bit of that, but not too much. But the idea is you really do need to be able to tell me what two integers is the square root between. So that's it for this. Irrational numbers and estimating square roots. This is pretty major, and it's really good, especially for the section we're going into. Pythagorean theorem. I always love that section. Pythagorean theorem. It's always fun to say too. Pythagorean theorem. Okay, see you next time.